And we're on. Hello and welcome to podcast episode 105 of Rope and Dope Boxing, where the two Daves are back together once again to bring you a midweek preview. Davey boy, haven't seen you for nearly 2 weeks, brother. How are things?
Not too bad, mate. Obviously, I've had family issues, mate. Deaths in the family. I got aunties passed away. My father-in-law's passed away. What's my auntie, my great auntie. Yeah, it's a lot going on. Family coming over and all sorts of stuff. But the funerals are next week, so I'll be back to normal. I say I'm looking a bit ropey. Hair needs cutting. I'm not usually looking my my dapper self, but I did listen to the shows that you've had, mate, with Jay. That was fantastic. He's a great speaker, knows his boxing, and like you say, he doesn't pull any punches. Says what he thinks, and yeah, he was great. And I listened to the show today. Thought it was a good show. Really good show.
That's the Ring Magazine champ, by the way.
Yeah,
he's a Ring Magazine champ,
and he certainly is. And now all three of them guys, to be fair, Sam, Liam, and Jay on the SW Fight Club, their channel, and the other bits and bats that they do. Brilliant. And we do bits with them, they do bits with us, and it's a good little thing we got going on with them. So appreciate that. And actually, I wish I was on that episode. I've enjoyed the two with Sam and Liam, but I would like to have been there with Jay. So hopefully we can do something again soon. But no, listen to you two. It was great.
Yeah, big shout out to those boys there, and there'll be plenty of other opportunities. Hopefully we can get to go on their show. They're going to definitely come back on our show, so it's a nice little link up there, and a few other people that want to come on as well. So it's a nice little community, especially the UK based boxing fans, so we can jump on with them as well. Just quickly, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe. If you're watching via YouTube, you'll see I've managed to have a fuck about with the platform I'm using, and I've worked out how to have a banner rolling along the bottom of the screen there. So normally Dave does his finger wagging and says like, share and subscribe, but you can actually see it there. You can still do it. Yeah,
I'll do that now.
There you go. Yeah, he's doing it the other way rather than down. So yeah, 5-star review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts as well, because nothing else will do. So it looks like you've had a bit of a shit week, mate. A bit of a shit week coming up. So you can do with talking a bit of boxing, can't you, to relieve the stress, if you like. Today's going to be a preview episode for the weekend coming up. Obviously, I've done my show with Jay the other day, but obviously I haven't seen Dave for nearly 2 weeks. I went solo last week myself. So before we crack on with our previews and news and all other bits and bats, from you, Dave, I want to take a seat back for a few minutes, and I want your views and opinions on, to start the week off, the Karriss Eubank Jr. Conor Benn press conference. I haven't had your pen in that.
Yeah.
The controversy from the weekend, obviously tanking his knee and the late punch by Paddy Donovan.
Yeah.
Other takeaways from it, and your boy Rayo Venezuela getting his arse handed to him every 36 minutes by Mr. Gary Antoine Russell. So yeah, thoughts on all those bits and bats I said there, mate. Take it away, brother.
I actually, it was a real sad show to miss, really, because there was some talking points that I'd have loved to have got involved in. Conor Benn, Karriss Eubank Jr. for me, and I said it straight away. Say what you want about Karriss Eubank Jr. He's the best salesman in boxing, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, him cream egging Conor Benn has sold more tickets, put more eyes on the fight. My sister-in-law from Australia. She said, "Oh, I like Karriss Eubank Jr. Did you see the egging?" And I swear, I know word of a lie. I said, "You like the boxer?" She said, "Yeah, I like him." I said, "Oh, we went to the AJ fight, me and Alfie, a couple of months ago." She went, "Who?" She's from Australia, doesn't know who AJ is, but she knows who Karriss Eubank Jr. is.
That's mad, isn't it?
Honestly, I was flabbergasted. I couldn't believe it. And then I had to get a picture up on my phone to show it wasn't. She just looked at it like one of them ones. Oh yeah, but she didn't know. And she knows.
I thought AJ's supposed to be a global brand. Clearly not.
Not in Australia, he ain't.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, like I say, it was great for what it was. It was great, and he's box office for that. He really is. For eyes and bums on seats and whatnot. But yeah, it sells, and that's what he does. So fair play to him. And for the shit house, you've got to love it. He's got eggs in his pockets. He's pulled him in by saying he can't hear him. So Ben's leaned in and he's just blasted him. We're right on the fizzer. Great.
What about him threatening Nigel Benn in the second presser? What do you make of that?
Well, big Nigel can look.
He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
makes enough to make Conor react.
Nigel's a God-fearing man as well. Like, he's apologising. Nigel Benn of now, goes, "I'm sorry." The Dark Destroyer of the 90s would have been flipping tables, like when Chisora threw the table Dillian Whyte. So, you know, it's a different era now. He's a God-fearing man. And to be fair, he thought he glassed him, didn't he? And if you crack an egg on someone, you know, it could easily be misconstrued as that. So, but you see him slide around the back and sort of grab him by the throat. But it makes for all the pantomime. It really does. It makes for all the pantomime. And that's what Karriss Eubank Jr. has been his whole career. You know, he's made an absolute fortune out of let's face it, a mediocre career. He's never really talked about being a champion, or, you know.
Oh, he's talked about it.
He puts his name in the hat. He's talked about it.
He's never walked the walk.
No, he doesn't, like, the amount of money he's made, world championship money though.
Yeah,
and that's the difference. That's the difference with him. So yeah, pantomime for what it is. Great, brilliant sell. I'll go on to Tank Davis now. Tank Davis and me, I feel a part of him is checking out. There's been retirement talk, for quite a while. And I was listening to you yesterday. You know, he's smoking spliffs. He's another one who's got a lot of money. So for me, it's the desire still there. His resume, I mean, we've always spoke about it being underwhelming. He's never really fought current champions. For me, it's money over legacy with him. And I just feel it was a lackluster performance. But I don't want to take anything away from Lamont Roach. I thought Lamont Roach boxed very well. You know, he wasn't afraid, which is a lot of everyone talks about Tank's power. I think, you know, it's like the Mike Tyson effect for me. You know, people worry about it before they even get in the ring. You know, you're half beaten before you get in the ring, because you know that at some point in time, Tank's going to detonate. And when he does, usually he knocks you out. So
he was comfortable with the power, Dave, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he landed a few big shots and just ate him up. Lamont Roach ate him up and was like, was that it?
I felt he was brave, yeah. And he was showing the bravado as if he was brave. You know, like he was catching a decent enough shot, and he was like, and he stood in the pocket, and he answered back, but he answered back for me with more punches than he was receiving. You know, so if he'd take one, he'd fire back two. And you know, that I know everyone's talking about it being close, and it was, but even without the round 9 knee, which it was a knee, and he should have got a point for that. I had him winning it without that. I had him one round up without the knee. So I still think he should have won regardless. And so if you get a 10-8 round, for me, he's 2 rounds up. I feel like Lamont Roach done more, was more active, and wanted it more. He seemed like the fighter that wanted it more. For me, Tank, I think he's checking out. And I feel like it's. I don't want to say the beginning and the end, because I don't want to write a man off. You know, but for me, it felt like a performance where he couldn't be bothered. You know, it was, but he is like that in his fights. You know, you may have had it right before. He does come. He picks around. He wants to sort of stop you in, and he does that. But Lamont Roach was stubborn, and wasn't having that. I knew that sort of thing was going to come at him, and I just for me, it just felt like like one of them type of performance from Tank. Like, it's almost like that's it. He's turning up now for a payday, more than actually really biting down and wanting to win. You know. So but again, that was a nightmare in round 9. I've never seen anything like that before, where he took a knee, went over, got his eye wiped, and come back, and it was like it was okay. It's almost like in football, you pick up the ball. Someone's on an attack, you just go over and you pick the ball up, and you walk over to the halfway line and say, "Sorry, I'm thirsty," and get a water, and then come back on and play like it was not like normal. You don't get a booking or sending off for it. You know what I mean? It was like he stopped play. It's like he stopped play, like mid-fight, sorted himself out because he had something in his eye, and was okay just to carry on like it was it was a strange one. The referee, he's an experienced referee. I forget his name. Was it Will Willis? Steve Willis, yeah. And I think he's had a nightmare there. I have seen things which I'll say in the news later on, where there's an appeal, and they're looking back and seeing if they can overturn that. Whether they will or not's another thing, but you can't just stop mid-fight. It's mad. I've never seen someone take a knee and not get counted.
And what about Paddy?
It was a great fight, great spectacle, great crowd. Done Ireland the world of good for me when it comes to championship boxing. I think it was a pretty brilliant performance from Paddy Donovan. There was a few bits of dark arts there. I don't think the head was the issue. The elbow was, because he was flicking out that elbow. It was almost like using it as a bit of a jab. Like he was throwing it that way, then getting back onto his boxing. As he was going in, there was the elbow was the one that I thought was a little bit naughty because they were both doing the heads. Because Crocker was down like this, his head was always in range. So that when Paddy's come in and come up, it looks like Paddy Donovan's throwing the head, but intentionally. But Lewis Crocker's head's already there, and that wasn't picked up on for me. I didn't think that was fair.
Was it a DQ? In your opinion?
Do you know what? My issue with it is because it was amongst the 4-punch combo. You know, it wasn't like he'd stalked him over and then waited. The bell went and he threw one single shot and knocked him out. He was throwing. It was late because I've watched it back. It seemed a very long time after the bell. But my issue with my problem is that, and you said it last on the show when you was with Jay. If that happens in the fight, normally it doesn't get stopped. Because Crocker's gone down. But for me, Crocker, he'd already just been dropped 20 seconds before that. The writing was on the wall. And for me, Crocker took it as an opportunity to bail out. And I don't want to disrespect him, but the writing was on the wall. He was losing that fight and he was about to be stopped. Even if it would have rung the bell for the next round, he probably wouldn't have come out because I reckon
Billy Nelson was on the ropes with the towel ready. He's ready to throw the towel in, man.
He probably wasn't going to come out. And if he did, he was going to get stopped within the first minute of the next round because he was gone. Paddy Donovan was on the ascendancy and the stoppage was coming. So what do you do? He knows that's a late blow and he's gone down and he stayed down now. And you got to do what you got to do. They've come out and said that they won't have the rematch. I can see why, because I don't see anything in Crocker that can win that fight, even in a rematch. He was beaten to every punch. He was outclassed. He had no plan B. He done the same thing. And Paddy Donovan's too shrewd for that. And for me, I don't see any way Lewis Crocker can change it up to beat Paddy Donovan. Now, if they do the rematch next, which Paddy Donovan's trying to make sure that Lewis Crocker gets blocked for having a world title shot. The worrying thing for Crocker is that if Crocker goes back in with Donovan and gets beat, he doesn't get that title shot again for a long time. It's some rebuild if he ever does. So for him to get his shot, he has to swerve Donovan for me because he won't beat Donovan. So he goes back in with Donovan and then he's got to do a rebuild. But I thought Donovan was class. There was a few dark arts there. The elbows I thought was out of order. It was very biased to me towards Crocker from the referee.
Definitely. Or Donovan. Crocker waits for his mandatory to be called. If he can't beat Paddy Donovan, because I don't reckon Paddy Donovan's ready yet for the world champions. He's a prospect / contender now for me, even though he lost the fight on the DQ. Yeah. If Crocker can't beat Paddy Donovan, what chance has he got against Boots or Stanionis?
No.
They'll take care of him even easier. So he's going to rely on a vacant belt being mandated against the number 2 or number 1 or number 2 contender. So he'll make more money fighting Paddy Donovan in the rematch in Belfast, still as the A side, than he would as a B side fighting Boots over in Philly. It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, do you know what? You're right. Neither of them. Crocker's definitely not ready for the elite, for the big guys in the division. He's not. But he's got to be. He's got to take. If a shot comes up, he has to take it. So I can see why he's channeling his energy into that, because I don't see how he beats Crocker. I don't see how he changes up his style, his game plan. I think that that Crocker has got different facets to his game where he can change it up. I don't see that with Crocker. So I don't think Crocker's got the armory to go in there and be different. For me, he only fights one way. And Donovan, for me, I think Donovan's got his number. So if he's forced to go back in there, I can sort of see the reasons why they're going for the world title, because it may be a long time before they get another shot.
Just quickly before we move on, for the time wise, your boy I mentioned there, Ray Valenzuela, didn't win a round, 36 minutes, got his ass kicked by Gary Antoine Russell Jr., whoever, 104 brothers. I didn't see that one coming, Dave. I've got to be honest, mate.
No, I didn't. And that was the best performance I've seen from Gary Antoine Russell. I thought that was an amazing performance. And he's come off a loss. And he's gone in. And I thought, I mean, I still am high, because one defeat doesn't define you. But he had an answer. Again, we're talking about answer. He had an answer for everything. And he's got some power. And I think that was a difference. I think the power in the shots that he was throwing to Venezuela, it earned his respect early. And I think that was the difference. But, that was a great performance. That was a really good performance from Gary Antoine Russell. And
performance of the week for me, that.
Yeah, absolutely. Venezuela didn't have an answer to it. Now, you see, we speak about the Pitbull fight, but Pitbull loads up and he's very telegraphed in his shots that he throws. Yes, he has power, but you can sort of see his shots coming, so you can slip and slide them and box Pitbull. Yes, Pitbull's exciting, and his pressure is educated, but he does telegraph his shots. With Antoine Russell, he's very compact, fast, good shots, powerful shots. He doesn't load up, but he's got good volume. And for me, bossed that fight. I'd struggled to give Venezuela a round there.
The judges didn't give him a round, no.
No, and you could see why. He's absolutely took him to school, and it was a great performance, exciting performance. I'm looking forward to what's going to happen next with Antoine Russell. I really am. I like that performance. That was a standout performance for me. Great.
Definitely, mate. There we go. There's 20 minutes in already. I did say keep it brief, but it's got so much to tell us from the weekend, and I understand why. How much news you got? Because you're going to do a bit of David McDonald now.
Yeah, we'll do a bit of David. I'll whiz through it. So David McDonald and the Dongs. This is something that I really wanted, and it's come true. Josh Padley has now signed a promotional deal following his late notice fight with Shakur Stevenson with Matchroom. Fully deserved for me. You all know the electrician stuff. He was in the loft, all that sort of stuff. Coming in and done a good performance. So I love that. And so be it. Changed his family's life. That's a rocky story for me. And I hope he goes in big fights and has a really good career. Deserves it.
Yeah, it was coming. It was coming, mate. I saw that news last week, back into the week where it was, and I put a tweet out straight away saying, I know what's going to happen now. Uncle Turkey's talking about doing a Matchroom versus Queensberry 5 versus 5 part 2. The first fight you put on there is Mark Chamberlain versus Josh Padley part 2. Padley weren't supposed to beat Chamberlain, Uncle Turkey's favourite fighter. Let's roll it back again. Josh Padley be on a good whack now. It's perfect, and he's going to get a lot of work. I see people call Maxie Hughes. Don't get me wrong, Maxie Hughes is trying to rebuild and things like that. But people are calling out Josh Padley's name now, and he's ranked in most of the sanctioned bodies in the top 15. Fair fucks to him. Love the story.
It's a brilliant story, mate. And you know what? He's gained a lot of fans, and rightly so. Announced. There's a Fatal Fury card, City of Wolves, in Times Square, New York, on the 2nd of May. There's 3 fights on this. Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Marrero. We know about him. Devin Haney versus Jose Ramirez, and Teofimo Lopez versus Arnold Barboza Jr. Jack Catchell's got to be kicking himself, but decent enough card there for on the May 2nd. Obviously, it's all being lined up for a Haney Garcia rematch, and this is the start of it.
I don't know how they're going to do that in Times Square. It's the city that never sleeps, isn't it? But they do it. I think they do a similar thing for New Year's Eve. But Ryan Garcia, impressive was yesterday. It was kind of a boring presser, if I'm honest. Haney and Garcia. I think Garcia's got some sort of legal block where he can't say anything about Haney. I mean, Haney's still trying to sue him, as far as I know. So I don't know how that's going to fucking work. Why would you get into the ring and give someone payday when you're suing the bollocks off him? I don't get that. But the presser was boring. Ryan Garcia looks a different animal than when he went in with Haney the first. So do you remember the first time he went in with Haney? He was massive. He was sweating. He was drinking on stage. He was saying racist comments. He looked a shadow of that. He looked razor sharp, focused, talking nicely. Rolly Marrero, I've got nothing against to do. Said it 100 times on this podcast before. I just thought he was a rubbish champion. Ryan Garcia will knock him out. Ramirez ain't the Ramirez that fought Josh Taylor. And obviously Barboza's on a crest of a wave in the form of his life against Teofimo Lopez. Will Teofimo Lopez get up for this fight? There's a bit of beef between them, so I think he will. And Teofimo Lopez is a class act. Whatever you think of him, he comes out with some bollocks and bullshit and it's silly comments at times. And when he's on his game, he's a fucking pleasure to watch. So I think Uncle Turkey said yesterday, mate, there's going to be about 300 tickets for that. 300 VIP tickets at Times Square, and everybody else is from the outside looking in. So it'd be interesting how they do that. So I think that's what they're planning to do one on Alcatraz as well, and all these crazy ideas. But 3 decent fights there. I don't know why we can't do Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney straight away. But obviously, as I said there, if he's suing him, and then I think Devin Haney's now moving up to a new weight. He can't make 140 or whatever it is. So deal me in, man. I like it. Yeah,
it's a decent card, that. Sad news to learn that the passing of American veteran boxer Carson Jones at the age of 38. I think he was having surgery or something, complication with surgery. I remember him being in with Kell Brook. I believe it was Kell Brook a few years ago, and he was over on these shores in a couple of fights. So yeah, sad man.
Yeah,
But 38, younger than us. Good fighter. Decent fighter. And thoughts go out to his family. It's terrible.
Definitely. I think it was one of Canelo's regular sparring partners as well, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah. A guy you mentioned on here a few weeks ago, former Unified World Champion Jarrod Hurd, has announced his retirement from boxing after suffering a split decision loss to Johan Gonzalez on the Tank Roach undercard. I think he's had a few bogus performances. He tried to come back, but I think that's it for Jarrod Hurd.
When you know. I think we reviewed one of his fights, didn't we, on that Pro Box card, and it wasn't the Jarrod Hurd of it wasn't the Jarrod Hurd of old. Good luck to him. He made plenty. Well, I hope he's made plenty of money. Get in, get rich, get out. Hasn't got it anymore. He's losing against fighters 6, 7, 8 years ago. We'd have probably taken care of him easy. So fair play to him. Good luck what he does in the future. So
that's it. Father time waits for no one.
Correct.
Announced. Terry Harper will defend the WBA lightweight world title against Natalie Zimmerman on the 23rd of May in Doncaster. Maxie Hughes versus Archie Sharp's also on that card.
Good fight.
Not a bad fight, that.
Good fight, that.
Terry Harper's last performance, I thought, was the best performance I've seen her. So hopefully this is Terry Harper 2.0. And, there's talk of her going in with Caroline Dubois at some point. So hopefully, it's building towards that. But, yeah.
That should have been this weekend. That should have been this weekend. Let's be perfectly honest. It should have been Terry Harper versus Caroline Dubois unification fight this weekend. But we haven't got it. We've got different fights. But fair play to GBM Promotions, man. They're putting on some good fights. It's a good promotion. I think I said ages ago, at Izzy Asif and the boys, he's got Adam Smith on comms there. He's got Nick Pete working for him. He's got a load of faces working for him. And I remember saying maybe he can get the Sky deal when Boxer's deal runs out, Ben Shalom and Sky. And I sort of retracted, says, hang on a minute. They're already on DAZN. I can stay on DAZN. DAZN's now the home of boxing. So I like tuning into a GBM card. I've got to admit, and Emma Dolan's fighting, defending her titles in a couple of weeks on one of those cards as well. So I like what they're doing over there, building that promotional company well.
All of the female fighters that we've had on the podcast are all fighting in the next couple of days and weeks. Rumour mill. Junto Nakatani versus Risiki Nishida is being targeted for June as a WBC IBF bantamweight world title for unification. Nakatani's head coach has revealed. Good fight, that.
Haven't got a problem. He's trying to unify the division. The division, mop it up, mate, and then get Inoue. I think I saw a statement from Inoue in the week, Dave, saying he's in his prime now. He said he's got about a good 3 years left at the top, then he's going to call it a day. So it looks like he's already thinking about fucking retiring. So, I haven't got a problem with unifying the belts, mate.
No, not at all. I quite like this. Ben Whittaker has linked up with a new trainer, Andy Lee, ahead of his rematch with Liam Cameron on April 20th. I think that would be good for Ben Whittaker. I think you got the razzmatazz, you got all the showboating, and I think that Andy Lee will sort of stem that, get him back to his boxing, get him focused, get him into game plans, and because he's a good boxer, regardless of the silly stuff that he does.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
And I think Andy Lee, he's becoming a good coach and getting a good stable behind him. So Ben Whittaker, I think that's a good little link up there.
Yeah, he's the trainer on form at the moment, isn't he? It should have been 2-0 to Andy Lee at the weekend for a DQ, went to Billy Nelson. But be interested to see. I'm looking forward to that fight, mate, because again, Ben Whittaker's got all the skills to pay the bills. But if he starts landing on Liam Cameron and Liam Cameron just says, is that it? And keeps walking forward, Andy Lee will be the guy to do, have a B plan, have a C plan, have a D plan. Because that was half of the problem, in my opinion. I mean, most of us have gone back and watched that fight. Liam Cameron got very, very comfortable, and Ben Whittaker didn't have a clue. And then obviously we do the WWE, and the rest is history. So interesting, good link up, like it. I think everyone loves Andy Lee at the moment, anyway. Well,
he's the name on everyone's lips when it comes to coaches. Like the Ben Davison sort of thing. When Ben Davison came on the scene, everyone was going to him. It's Andy Lee's turn now.
The Andy Lee effect,
Yeah, he's a good coach. He was a good boxer as well. Announced, Oscar Colasco will defend his Unified Ring Magazine WBO strawweight world title against Edwin Cano in the co-main event for the Williams Zepeda Terran Farmer 2 on the 29th of March in Cancun. Oscar Colasco was class in his last fight. A lot of the low weight, especially as low as straw weight, you just get sort of pushed to one side. No one gives a shit. But Oscar Collazo, that was a great performance. We talked about it on here, and he's exciting, and he would make me he makes me want to watch them sort of weights.
I think that the info in front of me, I'm sure that fight, that world title fight, was on the undercard of Usyk Fury 1, was it? Or Usyk Fury 2? Usyk Fury 1, I think. And I think we said outside Usyk's performance against Fury, we said that was the performance of the night, didn't we, from Collazo? Yeah. Very exciting Golden Boy fighter, yeah. Can't wait.
The New York State Athletic Commission are now reviewing Tank versus Roach and confirmed that a technical issue prevented the instant replay from being used in round 9. That's funny, isn't it? There is a possibility that the referee Steve Willis' decision could be retroactively overturned. So there's something going about. I don't think it will. I think it's too late. But it might call for an immediate rematch. That's what should happen.
That's what it's looking like, isn't it, at the moment? Immediate rematch. Laurent Roach will probably get more money this time as well. I think WBA's got no interest in kind of overturning that decision. That didn't happen with Daniel Dubois and Alexander Usyk. I know there was different circumstances with that, but I think the worst you can see is a no contest, mate, on that fight. I think we'll just see a rematch being played out, and probably this time Tank will probably do the business what he was supposed to do the first time. But yeah. I think Lamont Roach's lawyers have got involved and things like that to do with it. He should be wearing grease on his braids and on his hair, and it's illegal and all kind of nonsense like that. Look, I ain't interested in all that fucking that politic bullshit. We had a statement come out today, which you probably got in the news, about Uncle Turkey linking up with Dana White, and we can forget about all these fucking shit wanky sanctioning bodies. No one gives a shit about the politics of the sport. But on your actual point, mate, I'd rather just see the rematch now, rather than going through this long process of taking belts away and before I go into a rant, mate.
I was going to say, save the rant for that bit of news. Dylan White versus Joe Joyce is off. Sorry, mate.
I said that won't be a rant. That would be a positive bit of positivity for a change.
So Dylan White, Joe Joyce is now off as White has been forced to withdraw due to an injury. The replacement opponent I've seen today is Filip Hrgović. Looks like he's stepping in to fight Joe Joyce, so it's not a bad replacement. It's probably a better fucking fighter than White.
Yeah,
but I wasn't really interested in that fight before. Still not really interested. No. But it's one of them. But it's off anyway.
Yeah, apparently, Hrgović gets this is how kind of fickle the boxing community are. We're included as well at certain times. But apparently, Filip Hrgović was a hype job after he lost to Daniel Dubois. So, but now he's the second coming to take care of Joe Joyce. So I don't get it. I put my pen in yesterday. One of my favourite fighters, a nailed on heavyweight world champion, Bakhtiar Jalilov, is supposed to be on the Anibek undercard. He's already in camp fighting against another fucking bum that top rank are feeding him. The dude's in camp. He's 20-0, 20 knockouts. He's 30 years of age. He should be in his prime. Make the phone call. Get him over to the UK. Let the UK fans have a look at him. Let him be globally have a look at him as well. Take care of Joe Joyce and kick on. I've got to be honest, Dave. That's from a personal fan point of view, because I don't like the promotion with Top Rank, what they do with certain Eastern European style fighters anyway. But Filip Hrgović versus Joe Joyce, I agree, it's a better fight than Dillian White versus Joe Joyce. No one gives a shit about that fight anyway.
No,
probably Joe Joyce will either just keep walking forward, taking shots, and Filip Hrgović will rack up either a late stoppage or a unanimous decision points win. So where does Hrgović go after that then? Not too sure. It's a fight we'll watch, but it's not one I'm kind of going, can't wait for this one, boys. Really.
I'm not excited at all. But Gilberto Zerdo Ramirez will defend his WBA and WBA Cruiserweight World titles against Unified Welterweight on the 28th of June. Welterweight, I don't know how much he's got left. I know he was a bit of a player when Usyk was kicking around, and he was in the Super 6 series, was he? He was in that series. Yeah. It's a few years on from that, but he's a name in that division, in a division that's not full of names at cruiserweight. So Zerdo versus Dorticus, June 28th.
Yeah, I'd rather Zerdo versus Badu Jack, winner takes all, and then the fight Jarpatai, so Jarpatai can clean out the division and move on. It's a rubbish division, let's be totally honest. There's only Jarpatai and Zerdo that kind of lead the way. That's the only fight we want to see in that division. Everyone else is kind of irrelevant. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. I mean, there's apart from those two, it's quite a weak division now, cruiserweight. So Richard Riakporhe got beat by CBS. He's moved up to heavyweight, same as Lawrence Okoli. Again, one I can't get hard over, Dave. Sorry.
No, I'm with you.
I mean, how old is Dorticus now? He's got to be fucking our age.
He's got to be pushing 40. He's got to be. The last piece of news, and you touched on it, announced Turki Al-Sheikh and TKO have signed a multi-year partnership to establish a new boxing promotion with executive leadership anchored by Dana White and WWE President Nick Khan. The promotion will feature a highly structured system to develop new talent from around the world, including athlete combines and academies. Access for all boxers to use the UFC Performance Institute and Nutrition Center, and TKO's production, media, and promotional expertise to deliver both in arena experiences, top-tier, state-of-the-art broadcast to fans around the world. Further details about the new boxing promotion, including fighter signings, fighter schedules, venues, and host locations, will be revealed in the coming months. So they, from what I can gather, because they're building like a UFC sort of style boxing. Is it for all newcomers and building these 120 odd fighters that they say they're going to have? Or is the fighters we've already got in all the sanctions bodies coming in and joining this? Because if you look at the WBC, they're doing a Grand Prix thing. They're doing some mad thing. You've still got Riyadh season with all the promoters and 5v5s. And that. What is this? Are they building a whole new network of fighters, unknown fighters that they're going to do their thing with? Or what? I'm unsure. What's the crack here?
So I wish we had a lot more time to talk about it, mate, to be honest. From what I understand, obviously it was released today. You saw Nick Khan, Uncle Turks, and Dana White all having a press conference today, releasing the statement you've just said. So I had a quick look into it. From my understanding, issue, right, it's a UFC type module where, if you think of the UFC, you've got the numbered cards where you have all the contenders and the champions for each weight class. One champion in one weight class, by the way. And then obviously you have unnumbered cards like UFC Fight Nights, which have prospects on there. So those prospects that are fighting it out on a weekly basis in their contracts, getting paid, jump up into the Contenders League. So we are getting what originally Uncle Turkey was saying about a Fighters League. So it looks like a Contenders League and a Prospect League, a bit like a relegation into the Premier League kind of thing, if you like, all based on meritocracy. And that is what I like, meritocracy. You have your fights, you work your way up the top, and you get your just awards. None of this, fighting bums and getting mandatory shots when you don't deserve it. No brown envelopes, not getting world title fights after being knocked out because your name is AJ or your name is Canelo or your name is Fury. Fuck all that off. That's gone. That looks like we're getting rid of that now. Uncle Turkey's purchased the Ring magazine now from Oscar De La Hoya a couple of months ago. The Ring magazine is like, everywhere you see boxing now, everything's got the Ring magazine on it. More than it's got Riyadh on it. You don't see hardly any more sponsorship anymore. He's like advertising the fuck out of it. So from what I understand, bye-bye to the WBC, bye-bye to the WBA, bye-bye to the WBO, bye-bye to the IBF, the Ring magazine, the number one versus number two, no sanctioning fees, belts. The Rocky belt will be number one belt under one weight class. And all you other guys underneath work your way up to the top, 1 versus 2. So just say, for instance, now Usyk's a champion. He will face the number one contender, or he's number one versus the number two contender. Usyk gets beat, you're the champ. Usyk moves down the table. The ones underneath fight it up. They get ranked back up to number 2 or number 3. It's a very, very easy system to understand. And that's what we want. That's what we've been crying out for years. Fuck all those sanctioning bodies off. They're ripping, they're family-run businesses that are ripping people off. 3%. You've got the girls fighting this weekend, and there's going to be 3% taken out of their fucking purses. They don't earn fuck all. Yeah. They're robbing bastards. But if you don't pay them the sanctioning fees, they won't rank you, and you won't get a fight. So they're holding people to ransom. So I could talk about this all day. It looks like Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren could be pushed out eventually. You'll have the PBC, Top Rank, Matchroom, Queensbury, all trying to be relevant. But when Uncle Turkey and Dana White and TKO Promotions, that fucking millions and millions of pounds, they're just going to pull them over to their promotional company. You're not going to be able to compete on a financial basis. And people going to lose their jobs.
How does this work for the rest of them? Turkey's been with Hearn and Frank Warren, and they've all holding hands around the ring and all that sort of stuff. What's happened?
And they're eating off his plate, Dave. They're all eating off Turkey's plate. Don't forget that. They're all eating off Turkey's plate. They're all taking that money. There's no loyalty in boxing.
Where does it leave them now, though, with this? Where does it leave them? Are they going to just do their own thing separately? Is Turkey going to be part of that?
That's my point.
You either join me or you're gone. How does that work?
They're not. They won't be needed, will they? They won't be needed because TKO Promotions, not hosted, but promoted more by Nick Khan, the WWE guy. It will. I'm guessing that will be the main promotional company, along with Uncle Turkey's Ring Magazine cards, Riyadh Season. Those fighters, I might be completely wrong. It's only been day one, but the fighters from Queensbury, Matchroom, Top Rank, PBC, if they want to be in that contenders league, the main league, they've only got to show them the money, and they'll jump ship. Why would you fight for fucking a third on a PBC card when Uncle Turks and the boys will say, right, we'll triple that. We'll give you 4 times that. We'll give you 5 times more of that. We'll put you under a contract here. You get to fight the best fights that you want. We'll give you a league, got a chance to win a recognised belt. Mate, I love it. I think it's great. And, it's just, as I said there, Eddie and Frank and all the other guys are eating off Turkey's plate. They're getting free money. They don't have to promote anymore because Uncle Turkey's walked straight in there and he's gone, right, let's get rid of the politics. Let's get rid of the purse bids. Let's get rid of the egos, the splits. What do you want? Right, blank check. Here we go, son. There you go. What do you want? There we go, son. There you go. See you in 12 weeks for your training camp and we'll see you back in Riyadh. Eddie and Frank are they're irrelevant now. They're just eating off Turkey's plate. They're not needed. They're not needed, bro.
I don't understand how Turkey wouldn't have pitched this to them and why they haven't jumped at this, knowing that if they don't,
probably he has. He doesn't have to justify himself, does it? That's his own promotional company. In he's linking up with TKO Promotions from the WWE and obviously Dana White's UFC. He doesn't have to justify himself to anybody. He's helped them out.
Yeah,
he's put on best fights. Look how much money they've made to Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren out of Turkey purses. They couldn't get Usyk versus Fury on. They couldn't get the biggest fights on possible. AJ versus Dubois before Turkey come on the scene. Frank and Eddie aren't meeting up and discussing that and putting that on at Wembley, which you went 90,000 people. It's just not happening.
Yeah,
I love it. I think it's fantastic news for boxing, but just obviously it's 10:08 now. Reviews to do, preview. Sorry, but all I want out of this, I'm all for things to change, things to evolve. But as long as there's meritocracy, you get your just rewards, you fight your fights, you win your belts, you're number one. I'm all for it. I've got to admit, I'm all for it.
I agree. Obviously, there's going to be more to come in this because there'll be more announcements and stuff. So we'll catch this on Dave McDonald in the coming weeks. So that's the end of Dave McDonald and the Dongs. Boom, prediction league.
You've got to set me off for that one, mate. That's a positive rant, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It sounded like a rant, a negative rant, but it was positive. Right, prediction league, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, I pulled it back to 3-3. It was a kind of a Liverpool versus Newcastle from the 1990s. A couple of those fantastic games. So we'll see who got the winner at the end of last weekend. So Tank versus Roach. We both said Tank, so fuck all there. Venezuela versus Gary Russell. We both went for Venezuela, so fuck all there again. Puello versus Martin. We both went for Puello on points, so a point apiece there. Super Mateus versus Venezuela, not the Venezuela, obviously. We both went for the Boogeyman by KO. I said 9. Dave said 7. Mateus did it in 8, which gives us 3 points each there. Brian Garner versus Jimenez. We both went for Garner the Piranha by KO. You got it done on points, so there was a point apiece there. Louis Edmondson versus Kajawa. Dave went for Edmondson in round 10 by KO. Very odd. I didn't discuss it with him after. So we only got a point there, and I went for Edmondson snooze. I think I put that the other day. But I went for Louis Edmondson anyway by points, and he picked up a points win, which gave me 3 points. Spider Richards versus Poddy McCrory. Dave went for Poddy. I went for a draw. So fuck all there, along with Paddy Donovan versus Lewis Crocker. Both went for Paddy. He was disqualified. So nothing there. Right, catch your breath, Dave. The scores at the end of last weekend were Dave Holland 6, Dave Graham 8. Taking a score into this weekend, Dave Holland 3, Dave Graham 4, and Collymore has won it.
Bravo.
Back, boys.
I was off at the traps. I was 2 up when or 2-1, whatever it was, and I've just gone to shit.
Let's just
being
discuss.
A bit bold.
Yeah, but let's just have an honest discussion as two boxing fans. Right, Louis Edmondson's done you there. Whatever possessed you to pick him to win by fucking KO? Once again, he stunk the place out on Saturday night, Dave. Let's be totally honest, man.
Honestly, I didn't think he could be any worse than he was in the Dan Aziz fight, and he's fails to deceive for me, man. He just doesn't do a lot. He's got he's got a decent boxing skills, I would say, but he's just happy to just do enough and just plod in fights. Yeah,
springs to mind.
He's got no excitement about him. He really hasn't got any sort of excitement, any sort of a buzz about him, any sort of fizz about him. He's a hard watch. He's a hard watch.
He's
He's going to struggle to get fans. He is.
Definitely. So let's move on to our previews, ladies and gentlemen. This won't be a hard watch. Natasha Jonas versus Lauren Price, Royal Albert Hall on Friday night, not Saturday night. Unified Welterweight Championship of the World, the IBF, the WBC, WA belts on the line. The past versus the future. The changing of the guards is coming to some of the statements that's been released here. I've said on this podcast many times before, I'm a big Tasha Jonas fan. I think she's better now than she was when she fought Katie Taylor all those years ago. She's on an Indian summer. She's winning belts. She's a multiple weight world champion. She's an Olympian. Lauren Price, obviously, very same. She's only in her 8th or 9th fight now. Hasn't lost a round. And I've said, just go back to what I said, I believe, apart from Clarissa Shields, that she is the future. She is the next gen. She's the best female fighter on the planet. And I think I'm going to be proved right this Friday night. It will be a tough test for Lauren Price. Two different styles. It's 10-2, so both girls have got to start really, really fast, Dave. I've watched the press conference. Lauren Price looks focused, razor sharp. Tasha Jonas is Tasha Jonas. You know, she's not one for sort of trash talking and things like that. She's very smiley, very happy. She's very game as well. But for me, it's Lauren Price's time. We saw the Jessica McCaskill fight. That was a kind of change on the guard, but McCaskill was probably done after Sandy Ryan. The Jonas she's still got a lot left, but if she loses on Friday night, mate, that could be it. Because obviously there's only one more belt to get. That would be Michaela Myers' belt. But I just think Lauren Price has got too much for her at this stage of her career. I can't wait for this fight. It's the best fight of the weekend.
I'm looking forward to this fight. I really am. And you know what? It's good for women boxing that you get two names, and they are names that fight each other, and for world titles as well, unifying the world titles. I believe this is going to be Lauren Price's hardest fight to date in her career. Natasha Jonas has been great for women's boxing. You rattled off all of her achievements: Olympic gold, and you know, multiple weight world champion, and you know, a good boxer, good solid boxer.
Lauren Price MBE, by the way. I just thought I'd add that in.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you've got Lauren Price, the younger, fresher, fitter fighter. I've said this about the women's boxing. I said in the next few years, because they're being brought up as young ladies. The fundamentals, it ain't like it was years ago when they're just going in there and they're swinging and there's no sort of fundamentals or anything. Now you're seeing these with the Sky Nicholsons and they've got good footwork. They're quick. Yes, the powers is one thing. The stoppages are they're not always going to be there, but you're going to in the next few years they're all going to be really, really skillful boxers, and Lauren Price falls into that. I believe that timing's everything, and you had it there. I can't disagree. I think that Lauren Price's time is now. She's at the start of her career, and Natasha Jonas, unfortunately, she's the same age as us, is at the end of her career. But I do think this is going to be a competitive fight for at least the first few rounds. But I just feel like Lauren Price has got a better IQ. She's faster. She hits harder. She's got better IQ for me, and I think that'll be the difference in the fight. I think Natasha Jonas is going to be game. And I think she's going to stand in the pocket. She's going to want to trade. She's going to want to walk Lauren Price on the side. But I think Lauren Price is too shrewd for that. I think she's going to have too much of an engine, and I think it is the change in the guard for me. I believe that Lauren Price is going to shine on Saturday night. You know, you said it there that she hasn't lost a round. She will lose rounds in this fight for me. She will lose rounds in this fight, but she will be comfortable enough at the end of the fight. And I unfortunately, and Jay is a big advocate for Natasha Jonas. You know, he supports her through, and you can see why. I've got no issues with that. I just think timing is everything, and this is the right time for Lauren Price. And unfortunately, I think that she's going to get a late stoppage.
Well, she's sitting down on the shots now as well, isn't she? She's stopped.
I don't think she's going to get knocked out. I think it's going to be the volume. I think they've either Joe Gallagher's going to throw the towel in. Yeah, throw the towel in, and the referee's going to stop it. And I'm going to do it in round 8. I think Lauren Price round 8.
Yeah, I'm going to go points. Lauren Price, 2 southpaws. I don't think they're going to cancel each other out. I think Natasha Jonas is going to come out the trap so fast, try and clock those rounds up over 2 minutes. Lauren Price will lose rounds. I agree with you, mate. But she'll get into a rhythm. She's a great counter puncher. She makes great feet. Watch her feet, ladies and gentlemen. You know, we talk about elite feet on here. We love talking about sweet science. Lauren Price has got some of the best footwork in the business. She'll dictate and she'll navigate her way round of stealing so many more rounds off Tasha Jonas at the back end, and it might become quite easy. And I'm the same, but I'm going to go on points. I think Tasha Jonas will hang on to the end. But yeah, interesting fight. I can't wait for the weekend. But as you said there, mate, it will be changing the guard, and it will be Lauren Price, the new unified champion of the world. Caroline Dubois on this card, co-main chief support, whatever you want to call it. She's taken on South Korean Bomi Ri Shin. Don't know a lot about Bomi Ri Shin. Obviously, Caroline was Dave's prospect for last year. She's the number one contender, so there is a bit of meritocracy here, ladies and gentlemen. She's a big girl. She's just as big as Caroline, if not bigger. Seen her on the pads. Pad work means fuck all. She does seem to sit down the shot. She does look heavy-handed. Go and have a look at some of her stuff on YouTube. She's got 10 KOs, which is quite impressive for a female fighter. But we're talking Caroline Dubois here, very much like her brother, hits hard, comes forward, fast, looks to take you out. I can't look past Caroline Dubois. Could be a hard fight. You try and sell the fight as best as you can. It's going to be a hard one. I think Bomi Ri Shin's going to come in and try and stop Caroline Dubois, because if you go and have a look at some of her fights, she has gone out to look for the knockout. It's a world title fight. She's been I think she was a world title fight against Delphine Bassoon a few years ago, an old Delphine Bassoon, and she failed outside of South Korea because that's where she's based, and I think she'll fail again against Caroline Dubois. I don't think Caroline Dubois stops her. She looks tough, but I think it might be a little bit of a schooling back end of the fight for Caroline Dubois, mate. But yeah, that's my prediction. Caroline Dubois points. So what you seeing with your prospect of 2024, mate?
I'm with you, mate. And we talk padded records. If we don't know about this young lady, Bomi Ri Shin.
Yeah, I'll take your word for
it.
it.
She had 10 knockouts as a female fighter. You would have heard about her if she was the second coming of Boom Gardner, and you don't hear that from them. So there's padded records going on. We know about the pool within the women's division. For me, this is a formality. It's a tick over job, looking for maybe a Terry Harper coming, which is the name that's been thrown out there to be fighting Caroline Dubois. Keep her busy. It's an all female card, so it makes sense to have Caroline Dubois on there. So it's an opponent, and I'm with you. There's levels to this, and Caroline Dubois is just gonna go in there, showcase all of her skills. I think that this young lady, Bo Shin, will be tough. But I just think there'd be just too much gap in quality, in IQ, in boxing skills. And for me, it's a shutout victory on points for Caroline Dubois.
I think I heard as well today, Dave, it's her first fight at 135, Bomi Ri Shin. So, she's coming up to the weight division above. And it's not just a jump up in weight, it's a jump up in quality, as you said. So, yeah, good luck, both girls there. Right. Looking forward to this one. Oh, so I was looking forward to it. Just got rid of it then. Where you gone? Must be banner. Hurry up. There we go. Clubby Watson versus Jasmina Zapotoczna. Yes. Now, this is where my bias and Dave's bias will probably kick in. And it won't be just bias. It'll be educational sort of optic test from what we know. Jasmina Zapotoczna, friend of the show. I love her to death. I've got to be honest. We had her on the show. She's kept in contact. You message her on social media, she gets back to you straight away. I was speaking to her today, saying, I think I watched her on the presser. She was lapping it up. She loved every single minute of it. And she's in a good fight here. She's in a tough fight here against the champion, Chloe Watson, who won it's the EBU flyweight championship of the world. So the proper EBU belt. Chloe Watson won it in her 7th or 8th fight. She's the protege of Ricky Hatton. Because I'm so high on Jasmina, I didn't do enough homework on Chloe Watson. I remember seeing her on a Channel 5 Wasserman card, and she's good. This is a harder fight than I first thought, Dave. It's number 1 versus number 2 with BoxRec. Watching Jasmina's way she fights, this 2 different styles here. This fight will deliver. We're covering it because we're high on Jasmina as well. I'm going to be cheering her on from the sidelines. Well, from my home with a can of Polish lager, cheering her on, screaming my head off for her to do the business. But you've got 2 different styles here. You've got Chloe Watson, who likes to jump in and out. She likes the combinations. She's got the fast hands. But you've got Jasmina Zapotoczna that likes to box off the back foot. She likes to draw you in, and she likes to catch and counter, or she likes to catch you on the way in. Very good at pot shotting, very good at navigating her way around the ring. These 2 girls have had hundreds of rounds of sparring. I found out today watching the presser. They both know each other's game. Jasmina will draw Chloe in. That's what she does. Go back and watch Jasmina's fight. She lost to Shannon Ryan. She was unlucky. She didn't get that. She didn't do her homework properly that night. And, and she come a cropper. She was the underdog going into the Maisie Rose Courtney fight. Eddie and Matcham were trying to build up Maisie Rose Courtney into being the next kind of UK-based superstar in the women's division. Jasmina went into that fight and took her to school. she more or less beat her up, and she didn't stop her, but she became the WBA international champion that night as well, and that's where we fell in love with her. And she's on a major platform here as well, mate. There'll be a lot of eyes watching Jasmina at the weekend. Not only will I believe she will become the EBU champion, she's a WA international champion as well. And it could be a Josh Padley moment for her. A promoter has a look at her and thinks, you know what? I've seen her last fight. This girl's good. We can do a lot with this girl. We can put on the international scene. She's a tough night's work from anybody. She's got that. She'll have that EBU belt. Affiliated with the WBC. Get her up in the rankings. But I'm waxing lyrical here before Dave's even jumped in. I can't wait to see her. She's an underdog in this fight. She's 7-5. Put 100 quid on Jasmine on the weekend, ladies and gentlemen. Get £240 back. What else more can I say about her? She lives the life. If you follow her on Instagram, she's never out of the gym. She's waiting for her chance. This fight was supposed to happen in September last year. Watson got the injury. We've got it now on a massive platform in the Royal Albert Hall. All eyes will be watching. Callum Simpson will probably be there from all the people from the Wakefield gym that she's based in Yorkshire. I can't wait. So I'm going straight in for this. Possibly the best fight on the card by the main event. Chloe Watson will have her moments, but Jasmina Zapotoczna's IQ to me is a bias coming out as well, guys. It's slightly better. She'll catch and counter a lot. She'll move her feet. She'll create enough space. She'll catch her on the way in as well, and she'll point score. She'll pot score, and she'll point score, and she'll rack up enough points over those 10-2s, and she'll become the new EBU European Flyweight champion. Let's go, Jazz.
Cool, you could be her promoter. But listen, play that whole thing to her, and you'll be promoting her next week.
I'd sign her any day of the week. She's one of my favourite fighters, mate. Your turn. Top that.
We had. I ain't gonna be able to top that, but we did have her on the show, and she was lovely. She really, really was really endearing, wasn't she? You can see her personality.
She's just a nice person.
A lovely person. Like you say, I don't have all the social media other than the rope-a-dope thing, but. And you've been talking to her, and again, she's lovely. Give us her time, and she's great. And we are biased towards her, and we really want her to do well. She is in a tough fight, and their styles will blend beautifully to make a really good fight, and it'll be a good advocate for women's boxing. I know it's a women's show anyway, but I can see this being. You said it there. I can see this being a standout fight on the card because, again, yes, she likes to go on the back foot, but she's quite happy to stand in the pocket and trade as well. She won't take a backward step when it comes to firefighting. Yes, she can fight on the back foot and pot shot and move and have all that. But when it's time to get down and get into it, she will. And Chloe Watson is a good opponent. She really a good champion. And with Ricky Hatton in her corner, that's positive for her. So it is a tough fight.
Ricky as well, Dave. She fights like Ricky. If you go back and have a look at some of the fights, she's got that sort of inside style as well, when she does get in the pocket and trade. And
Jasmina's, like you said, she boxes on the back foot, pot shots. She can frustrate. So she could frustrate Chloe Watson. And, with Chloe Watson being a come-forward fighter, and, if she's not getting the success she wants, and, and Jasmine is moving, not getting involved, she might not decide not to. But, given her things to think about, she might frustrate Chloe Watson. So there's a lot of facets in this fight that, it's going to make for a great fight. And I'm with you. She was lovely. We shouldn't be biased, but I'm going to be. And I think Jasmine is going to win on points. A really close fight, but I think she's going to get the nod. And I really hope she does. I really hope she does, because she's got two supporters here. Like I say, she was lovely enough to give us her time, and like I say, she deserves this, because people go back and listen to the interview we had with her. The women do struggle. It costs them to be fighters. They don't make any money. And to be on a platform like this, Royal Albert Hall, on a Sky Sports show. Yeah, brilliant. And I'm made up for her, and I really hope she does it.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Just quickly on this card as well, and people have been poo-pooing this card. If you're not interested, don't fucking watch. There's some decent fights on there. You've got Karriss Artingstall against Raven Chapman. I mean, there's a story there. It's a good fight. If Karriss Artingstall beats Raven Chapman, and she does it in style, I don't think she will. I don't think she'll do it in style, but I think Karriss will beat her. You're looking at the Sky Nicholson fight for her next, because there's a narrative there. Karriss beat Sky Nicholson in the Olympics in the quarterfinals. She's probably the only person to win rounds and beat Sky Nicholson. So you've got something there. And it's for a British title as well. It's been put on the top. You've got Cindy Ngamba. She makes her pro debut. She was in the refugee team, wasn't she, in the Paris Olympics? She's joined boxing. She's having a crack at Kirsty Barrington. She's the European champion. I don't think that belt's on the line, but she only lives down the road from me, Bavo. So that'd be an interesting fight. Very experienced fighter. And a fan favourite, mixed girl, Francesca Hennessy. She's looking to make it 6-0. She takes on a late replacement in Gemma Rueg, which would be interesting. Everybody loves Fran Hennessy. I said last time she's kind of replaced Shannon Courtney, if you like, of being, possible poster girl, if you like, for boxer. You know, so there's some good talent on this card. I'm looking forward to it on Friday night. Because there's 2 shows on Friday night, guys, and I don't know why. I think it's International Women's Day or something on Saturday. I heard somewhere. I don't know why. I don't know why they'll get the all-female card's not on the Saturday. They're both on Friday. I will be having the Sky Sports show, the all-female card, on my television before I go to it for the obvious reason. I think the fight of the night is Jonas versus Price, and obviously for our love for Jasmina Zapotoczna. But we jump over to Brighton quickly. Harlem Eubank's back in action, Dave. He takes on Tyronne McKenna. Tyronne McKenna is, I don't know how many times has he retired. Keeps coming back out of retirement. He's a tough Irishman. Unfortunately, he lost to Lewis Crocker not so long ago. But you go and see the performance of Lewis Crocker at the weekend. Kind of talking levels, but Tyronne McKenna is tough. He's hard to get rid of. And watching Harlem Eubank was probably mine and Dave's worst fight to review last year. An 8-rounder against Erdogan, I think his name was. I think that was in Brighton as well, or wherever it was. They were on the floor wrestling more than anything. It was an absolute shit show. We've both said Harlem Eubank needs to be more active. He's got the name. He's hanging on to the name Eubank because don't get it wrong, I like the kid. You know, he's humble. He doesn't trash talk anyone. He's quiet. He goes away and gets on with his work. He's absolutely nothing like his cousin, Karriss Artingstall Jr. But we need to see something from him in the main event on Brighton on Friday night, Dave, because
100%.
The name Adam Azim and the name Dalton Smith in the same weight category are now started to pull away from him. If he doesn't make a statement here against Tyronne McKenna, or he gets a scrappy points victory, or even gets beat, he can kind of forget it. He's gonna have to, if he wants to stay in the game, he's looking at this level of domestic opponents, because as I said, those two, his name was mentioned with Dalton Smith and with Adam Azim, just because of the Eubank name as well. If that name wasn't attached to Harlem, Dave, nobody would be talking about him. So I'm expecting a good performance from Harlem Eubank. He needs it. He needs to stay relevant, man. But this is a hard task in front of him in Tyronne McKenna.
Yeah, it is. It is, and you're right. You nailed it there. He needs a performance. It was so bad, his last performance against Erdogan, that he can't afford to have another appearance like that. It's been on Channel 5. Yes, it's on terrestrial TV, but that's going to get outworked by that full female card being on the same day. I mean, they're kicking themselves. They'll be kicking themselves. They've got that. So yeah, for me, he needs to be in there. Tyronne McKenna, you're not sure what one you're going to get. Like I say, the desire doesn't seem to be there. If you're retiring as many times as he has and coming back, you know, you're having thoughts, you know, what are you doing it for? Is it the money? Possibly.
He said he's bored. I saw an interview of him the other day, mate. He keeps saying he's bored. He's lived the life, and now he's sitting at home just walking a dog. He ain't got nothing else to do, so they can't let go, can they? But that's basically what we're saying. But I agree with you. What's in it for him now?
It's the desires. If you even that just shows the desire. You're just coming out because you're bored. What's your desires? What's your goals to want to go and do it? Ain't to be any type of champion. But listen, he hard night's work anyway. He's a tough cookie. And Harlem Eubank needs a performance. So for me, I think you're going to get one from him. I think it's going to be a good boxing performance. He needs one. Like you said there, the names in the division are going to, they've already started to leave him, you know, and for him to stay on their coattails, he needs a performance here. I don't see him getting a knockout. I do see him boxing very well and winning rounds and winning rounds comfortably. I think it's going to be, it has to be a better performance. So I think it's going to be a good performance from Harlem Eubank. I think he's going to win on points.
Yeah, I do as well. I can't see the knockout. It's going to be after the best performance of his career. It's probably the biggest name on his resume so far. That shows he needs to catch up with Adam Azim now and Dalton Smith if he wants to stay relevant. I agree with you. I'm going for Harlem Eubank in a points decision win. Hopefully, unanimous points win, so people can start talking about him on Saturday morning. That Harlem Eubank is back to an extent. Talking about people coming back, Michael Conlan, odd one this. Simon Wasserman boxing. I don't know why. Obviously, I know it's, as Dave said there, it's terrestrial television. They don't do many Channel 5 cards. He's co-main here, or he might be a floater as well. He's in an 8-round against Azad Isif Khan. I don't think this guy's fought out of India, mate. It's over 8 rounds. Michael Conlan's coming off 2 knockout losses. Probably one of the most skillful featherweights we produce on these islands. He just gets chin checked or tapped with a jab and he goes down. It's such a shame. He'll probably never win a world title, but I don't understand what this fight's about. Is it just a little payday for him? Is it a showcase fight to show people he's still relevant to a terrestrial television eyes? I don't know what's going on here with Michael Conlan. I don't think he'll win a world title again. He'll never win a world title as a pro, should I say. I think he'll school this Asif Khan, no disrespect, but if you're plucking people out from India from where the level of boxing isn't great and you're going against, an Olympian, a world-class level operator, that does perfect the sweet science, it's only going to go one way. And you might even see a stoppage from Conlan, mate. But yeah, just quickly, what's going on with Conlan now? This promotion, this fight, 8 rounds, coming off 2 knockout defeats, mate. What's going on with Mick Conlan?
He's a hard one because he's a fantastic boxer. He's got fantastic skills. But honestly, I've not seen a man take a shot like him since Amir Khan. And funny enough, he's fighting a Khan on Friday. But that is his only thing that lets him down. If he could hold his shot, he'd be a fantastic fight. I mean, the Lee Wood fight, he knocked Lee Wood down in the first round, but Lee Wood caught up with him in the 12th and put him through the ropes. Luis Alberto Lopez iced him as well. Now,
he's probably winning that fight as well.
Yeah, and he would. If he could hold a shot, he would win most fights because his boxing skills are up there. They're elite boxing skills. In regard to this, I don't know what sort of route he's kind of go down here. Wasserman are a weird one anyway, because again, they're not involved in anything. They're just on Channel 5. I don't think they have the clout to push him into a position to get anything meaningful. Yeah. So, for me, this is just he's been out for a little while. He's come off 2 stoppage losses. Go in there, build some confidence. He's not even against the name, just against anyone, which is what this is. But where he's going, I don't know. I expect him to come through this with flying colours. Joe, I'm going to say he's going to get a stoppage here. He's going to get a stoppage here. I'm going to go for Michael Conlan in round 4. Yeah,
I'll go Conlan 6, mate. I'll go Conlan 6. I think he's going to probably put on a better show than Harlem Eubank. Hopefully not, but good luck to Mick there. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, it's absolutely fuck all going on boxing-wise on a Saturday night, especially here in the UK, as we just said. I've had a look over the world, what's going on. There's a pro box card. I love a pro box card midweek, but they're starting doing the Saturday cards now. This one's at Thunder Studios at Long Beach, California. A name that some people might remember, well, the boxing hardcore will remember, Nicholas Walters. This Jamaican guy was on I like using Dave's terminology, crest of a wave for the most of his career. Slick, fast Jamaican boxer based in the States, was knocking everyone out, hard hitting, very exciting, front-footed, wankable fighter. And let's be honest, he was. Gets in the ring with Lomachenko, a young Lomachenko, a world champion at the time, and was schooled to death. It was the beginning of the Matrix, if you like. Quit on his stall in the 7th round, and we haven't seen him for 7 years. He just disappeared. No one ever saw him again, which is very disappointing. You have one loss, and it must have affected him in certain ways. But to have 7 years out of the game is a fucking long time. He's back now. He's had 3 fights since. He's had 1 knockout in those fights against mediocre opponents. He seems to be signed with Pro Box. He's 39 years of age, and I've picked this fight at the weekend just to see what's left of Nicholas Walters, because he was exciting. He can box. He was slick. He used to find great angles. His highlight reel is fucking massive. But at 39, what's left? And they've got this opponent out of this southpaw opponent, Luis Valenzuela, not related. It's been a Venezuela weekend, the last 2. Never heard of him. They plucked him out of deep darkest Mexico. I think what's his record? I did write it down. 20-1. I think he's been stopped once or whatever. I'm not really interested in the opponent. He might be just an opponent. But I say that, Dave, having a look at the betting, he's a 6-4 on favourite, as in Venezuela. So, whether the last 3 fights Nicholas Walters have been involved in, maybe he hasn't looked pre-Lomachenko. And I understand that. It was 7 years ago. So basically, guys, what I'm trying to say is what is left of Nicholas Walters? And I'm going straight in here. Is there one last roll of the dice here? I think it's up at super featherweight now. I think it's up at 130. I'm sure it is. But I think it's going to be in a good fight here against a tough Mexican. And I think if the power's still there, the power's the last thing to go, guys. I think it's going to stop Venezuela round about 7 or 8. I'm going to go Nicholas Walters to stop Venezuela in round 8. Dave, Nicholas Walters, you remember him from the Lomachenko days, disappeared. What do you reckon his comeback? What's going to do this Saturday night over in California?
In the Lomachenko fight, he done no mass. I'm sure he done no mass. He didn't want no more. He was the one that called it off. It was the first time since Roberto Duran. Well, I'll say the first time. I'm sure many have done it, but it was the most high-profile one since Roberto Duran. Not sure. Again, what the plan is here for Nicholas Walters. Last roll of dice. I don't see him being able to go for anything meaningful. Like you say, he might be one of them ones that just can't let go. But I've looked at this Venezuela's box record. He's a Mexican. He's young. He's 23 years old, and the last time I pulled a Mexican out my arse was Espinoza. And
he's going there.
I've dined off of it since. So
he needs the points this weekend, guys.
I am going to go for it. And I'm going to go for Venezuela to beat Nicholas Walters on points. And it'd be the best name on his record.
Definitely would, yeah. That's all that's going on really on Saturday. It's not even the main event. I think Deji, the Ukrainian's in the main event against Joet Gonzalez. But I am intrigued what version we get. A 39-year-old version of Nicholas Walters on Saturday night. So, just lastly, before I've got to go to work before we fuck off, the winner's weekly wager. There was £24 in the pot last week. Unfortunately, there's still £24 in the pot. I went for Tank Davis, so I think the majority of the boxing community went for Tank Davis to win by knockout last weekend. It never came. So as I won the prediction league at the weekend, it's my turn, yes, again, to pick this week's winner's weekly wager. Bias says Jasmina Zapotoczna to win on points. I think she can do it. I bet she is in a hard fight. Harlem Eubank needs something this week. He needs to make a statement of some sort, as I keep repeating myself, to stay relevant. And that's just relevant with your Dalton Smiths and your Adam Nazines. Forget the champions. He just needs to stay relevant. But this week, mate, I'm going to go for Michael Conlan. I think my head says knockout. My heart says knockout. You know, I've never been a power puncher, but there is power there. And against a guy that's been plucked out of India, it's probably to make him look good. I think it's probably nailed on that he will win. And I'm hopeful that he does get the knockout. So for this week's winner's weekly wager, the banker is Michael Conlan to knock out Asad Asif Khan. I think I said, did I say round 8?
7, I think you said.
Did I say 7? So I'll go back in and watch this, and we'll correct it on Sunday when we are back on Sunday, by the way. But I'm definitely going for Michael Conlan via knockout.
I think you said 6, as I said 4.
4, right, 6 then, yeah. Either way, hopefully he's going to get it done, and we can add some more we can turn some more points into pounds for the charity of your choice at the end of the year. So, just over an hour, mate. I've got to go to work. You've just come back in. Any plans for the weekend, brother? Anything else to add before we say goodbyes and fuck off?
No, not doing a lot this weekend. Obviously, I've got a heavy week with funerals and whatnot next week, so I won't be doing a lot. Mooching about, getting ready for that. Father-in-law's funeral's on Monday, so got the final preparations and stuff. So a bit of a solemn one. After next week, it'll be back to mad stories on trains and silly things that we get up to, and I'll be fully back. But I appreciate everyone that sort of stepped in for the last couple of weeks. It's appreciated.
Yeah, definitely, mate. So that's the end of episode 105, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back on Sunday, sometime on Sunday anyway. Obviously, Dave's got things going on during the week, so we'll have a week off next week. But we'll be joined by our old pal, our old mucker, Mickey McGrath. You might remember the guy that came on and done a preview for Fury versus Usyk, one of our long-term friends. He's actually going to the card over in Brighton on Friday night. He lives in Brighton. He's going with his pal, so be prepared, should I say, to listen to a load of waffle from him on Sunday. But I look forward to his analysis of Harlem Eubank and Mick Conlan and all the other guys. I think there's about 16 fucking fights. We ain't got time for all that. Hopefully he watches the Royal Albert Hall card as well and a bit of Pro Box. But he'll be joining us on Sunday, and that's when you'll next get your content. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, have a great weekend. Stay safe. And as I always say, enjoy the bloody boxing. Dave, peace out, brother. And I'll catch you Sunday, mate.
Take care, mate. Have a good one.